even realize, but you literally just have one button standing in between you and that higher credit limit. So this way, you have money in the event that you need it, and your credit score is going to jump up a little bit too, which is always nice. Welcome back to the channel. This is Anthony, and today we're going to be talking about how to actually increase your credit limit across all Capital One cards, and this also does apply for any other credit card issuer as well. But specifically today, we're going to be talking about Capital One, as I have 2 of their cards, and I really want to get an increase on my credit line. So let's talk about the top 5 things you could be doing right now to increase your credit limit on these cards. And a couple of reasons why, that if you have applied for it, why you didn't get approved in the first place. That's right, I'm really trying to increase the limit on my subscriber count, so make sure you hit the like and subscribe button. But with that said, let's get right into it. Could I have made a worse segue than that? But I think we have a slight glare, so I'm going to take these off. So the first 2 on the list are pretty basic, and I'm sure a lot of you guys are doing this already, but let me list it just in case. So the first thing you could be doing to get this credit line increase is actually paying on time. That's right, I know it seems like a given, but a lot of people are a little bit late on payments or don't make the full minimum amount payment. To which I definitely recommend that you stay on top of this and make sure your payments are on time, because not only are you not going to get a credit limit increase, but your credit score is going to drop dramatically for each missed payment or late payment that you make. Not only the credit bureaus, but the banks specifically want to see that you're paying on time to see that you're a valued customer and a responsible customer. One thing that I like to do, and a lot of people like to do, is actually set up auto pay. This way, without you having to do anything or any additional thinking, your card is going to be paid for in full or the minimum payment at the same time every single month. And I know there's some third-party software to tell you exactly when to pay your bill, but really just make sure you stay on top of it. So this way, if they've seen for years you've been paying on time every single month, you're more likely to get that credit line increase. And number 2 is actually your personal income. Now you guys know, when you go to sign up for a credit card, it always asks, what's your annual income? And a lot of the times, this is the main reason on why you get approved or not, or what kind of credit limit you started out with. And then you'll see a little bit later when we go through our own application together, but you'll see that same question come up with how much income you actually are earning. And remember, this is the honor system, of course, so we want to report as closely to our income as possible. And it's really just in the interest of the bank, so they protect themselves, so they're not just giving you unsolicited credit line increases, which might increase the probability that you use that extra limit, and now you can't fully pay the bill, which means you can sue the bank for negligence. And that's why they ask you specifically for your income, because in the event of a default, they could just refer back to that application to show, oh look, this person put their income as $100,000, they were only making $40,000 at that time, it's their fault, not the bank's. But I'm sure you guys aren't lying on your applications, right? Listen, you can lie to anyone you want, just not me. So now, along with income relates to our third factor, or the third thing you could be doing to get that credit line increase. Now, on the application itself, to get that credit line increase, it's going to be asking you who you're employed by. Now, for those of you who are self-employed, I've seen a lot of people over the years put that on their application to show, yes, I work for myself. But the banks ultimately view that as a risk, so what I would suggest, the banks will ultimately view you as a high-risk individual as your income is not stable. Now, what I suggest to put on the application when you're trying to get this credit line increase is, instead of saying self-employed, say you're employed, but put your own business in that little line there. So let's say you're a real estate agent. On that application, you're going to put the brokerage that you work for, not that you're self-employed. So you're employed by that brokerage. So now this way, you're viewed as low risk, and you have a higher likelihood of getting that credit line increase. Now, the fourth factor that you need to get this credit line increase is one that I was actually unaware of until recently. So you can see right here on my own application, it actually denied me a credit line increase not too long ago. What was the reason, you may ask? You basically can't get a credit line increase unless you've used the card fairly frequently. And for me, I've really been churning and getting a lot of credit cards lately, so this one's kind of been on the back burner. So if you're a person that has this card but hasn't used it in the last 90 days, you're kind of out of luck, as it looks like you're an inactive user and there's no reason for them to increase your credit limit at this time. So don't be like me and actually use the card for the foreseeable future. Do things like putting it on a Netflix subscriptions. This way you're only paying like $10 a month on the card, but at least it looks like it's active. Just don't forget it's on there. Oh, that's right. Don't let me forget that the only other thing that you have to do actively is actually hit the like and subscribe button so you can help out this channel so that it expands to a greater audience so that they can also get a credit line increase. Now, I know for a fact you guys did not see that segue coming. Now, number 5 is a really important one, so make sure you really listen up for this one. So now, to really get you to understand this, let me isolate the credit cards for a second, and let's not worry about any other credit card issuers or credit cards. For today, let's talk about the Capital One QUICKSILVER credit card, which would be this one right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to put it right up in this corner right here. Voila, I got it to stay there, so now let's move on. Now, you may not even realize this, but the Capital One QUICKSILVER card has 4 different variants. And there's 4 different tiers, starting all the way from the secured version all the way down to the excellent credit version. And each of these pretty much carry the same benefits, but they have different credit score requirements, which leads you to think, why is that even a thing? Now, when you're approved for those lower tiered versions, aka the poor credit version or the secured card version, Capital One doesn't actually have to give you a very high credit limit as they see you as a higher risk. But what that also means is they try to put you in a box right from the start. These boxes are actually called buckets. And like I said, these buckets are created at inception. So if you're a person like me and it was one of my first credit cards, my credit limit was about $1,500 and I never got an increase past that. Because for the first 5 years after you're approved for that credit card, they still are going to view you as that poor credit person, which pretty much means that you're less likely to get approved for a higher credit limit. And even if you are approved, the dollar amount jumps that you get in credit limits are very low. So now you might be asking, maybe you are in that bucket, how do we get out of it? So like I said, it's only for the first 5 years, so if you've had your Capital One QUICKSILVER card for 6 years, you're kind of out of it already. But if you're not, and maybe you're only in your first year of ownership, but you want that credit line increase, consider if your credit score has increased somewhat dramatically over the last 12 months, you might be able to get approved for one of those higher tiered QUICKSILVER cards. But what some people do is actually cancel their existing QUICKSILVER card, and then maybe a little bit in the future will apply for the higher tiered one. In this way, you'll automatically, right off the bat, have a higher credit limit, and then you'll have the potential for an even higher credit limit just because you have that higher tiered card. Because personally, I've seen with Capital One, you can have a credit limit of $300 or even as high as $30,000. But just remember, there is a rule with Capital One that you can have no more than 2 personal credit cards with them. Meaning if you already have the Capital One Venture X card and the Capital One QUICKSILVER card, you can't get approved for a third card, aka maybe the Capital One Platinum card, etc., etc. But it doesn't actually apply to any co-branded cards like store cards. Okay, so now let's get into the application process. So let me show you how to get there and what you have to go through. So to do this, I'm going to put on my... I can't say. So... Why is it so funny? It's 5 glasses of perception. Please hit the like and subscribe button for these laughs. So to do this, I'm going to put on my +5 glasses of perception, and let's talk about this. So firstly, you could do this all online, but I like to do it all through the app. So sign into the Capital One app, go all the way to the right where it says Profile, and it's going to give you a list of things like personal information, security, but we're going to click on that third bullet, which is Account and Feature Settings. And then when you get there, go down to where it says Credit Card Account Settings and hit Request Credit Line Increase. After you click that, it's going to ask you specifically which credit card's line you want to have increased. So for me, I'm going to hit the QUICKSILVER card, which the credit line right now is $1,500. So the first thing it's going to ask you is your total annual income. So like I said, make sure it's as close to your income as possible. We are in the honor system after all. And just so you guys know, along with annual income, it states alimony, child support, or separate maintenance income, which means maybe if you have a house and you rent out bedrooms, any additional money that you get every single day or every single month, you can actually put this on your annual income report. Side hustles, what have you. And after that, it's going to be asking you your self-employment status. So like we said earlier, make sure you don't hit self-employed, make sure you hit employed. And then for the occupation, like I said, it's whoever you work for. If you're a real estate agent, put your brokerage. If you are a freelancer, maybe put Fiverr if you work on there. And then after that, it's going to be asking you your monthly mortgage and rent payment. And then lastly, your monthly spend for credit cards. Typically, if you know your credit limit, I just usually like to put at least 10% of that. So if it's like a $5,000 limit, I'll just say it's about $500 every single month. So this way they see your utilization down, which means you're a good risk. And then lastly, all you have to do is slide to request. And usually instantly, but if it's not instant, sometimes within a couple of days, you'll get the reason why you were approved or disapproved. To which sometimes they're a little bit vague. In my case, they were specific with how much I actually used the card, and since it wasn't active, they denied me. But that really is the entire process. It takes no more than 10 minutes, and really make sure that if you're not approved instantly and you do get disapproved, just make sure to watch this video again and go through all 5 points and make sure you're doing all of them diligently. And I would say if you follow everything I showed you in this video to a T, you're definitely going to get approved for your next credit line increase. And since we talked a lot about the Capital One QUICKSILVER card, if you want to see a video, I did a breakdown on that exact card and all of the tiers, so if you want to see that, I'll leave it in the card right here.